Welcome back to the Weekly Word Outdoor Adventures. Thanks for joining us. We're out here in a graveyard again, but we're at a grave that doesn't have anybody in it. Very interesting story here. I ran across this on the internet. I'd first asked Google, I was just trying to Google some things. I said, who's the most famous person buried in McMinn County, Tennessee? And Google came back and said, of course, Joseph McMinn. I'm like, well, we've already did a weekly word on Joseph McMinn. He's buried down at Calhoun and has a nice monument down there. But I scrolled on down a little bit and I ran across this story by our Sheriff Joe Guy, a local historian, about how this was going to be Joseph McMinn's other grave. In fact, he titled the story Joseph McMinn's Other Grave. And wow, it seems like after they buried Joseph McMinn down at Calhoun, a few decades went by, and by then Athens became the more prominent town and the county seat of McMinn County, and they decided, well, we're going to bring Joseph McMinn up here and bury him in the city cemetery, Cedar Grove, here at Athens. And they built this nice little round monument here. It says McMinn on the stone on each side. And they were getting together to have a big day, a big to-do. But they went down to Calhoun, and Joseph McMinn, the former governor of Tennessee and Indian agent and many great things, Revolutionary War, all kinds of things he's involved with there. But he was in an unmarked grave, and there'd been enough decades go by that they couldn't find anybody that knew where he was buried at. So somebody remembered there's one old guy still lives here in Calhoun that was here when they buried him. He knows where he's at. He probably came to the funeral and they went and asked him. He's like, yeah, I know where he's at. What do you want to know for? And they're like, well, we're going to move him. And the old man says, no, I'm not going to tell you where he's at then, because the good book says not to disturb the graves of the dead. And so he would never tell them. So this kind of went defunct up here. And it's just an empty spot that's still here all these years later now. But it's sort of like, I was thinking they should have remembered what James said in the New Testament. When James said, when you're going to make plans, we all do it. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this next week or next year. James says, you better say, Lord willing. Because I think what James is trying to remind us is that it's okay for us to make plans, but we're not guaranteed. We sure shouldn't be boasting that I'm going to be here tomorrow, next week, or next year. God may have other plans. So James is big on reminding us of our mortality. And even if we don't say Lord willing, I do a lot because it kind of helps me to remember that. Even if we don't say Lord willing, we ought to remember that Lord willing, I'm going to do such and such. Because as James had also said, because remember, your life's but a vapor that appears for a little while and then it fadeth away, just like that morning mist. So let's remember that. The best plans of mice and men, you know, God may laugh at them because he sees the big picture. So remember, when you're making plans, that's okay. But always remember, Lord willing. See you next week on the Weekly Word, Lord willing.